This is T. Corman of the SCP Foundation, continuing Dr. Campbell's request. And this seems to be my sentence for the rest of my life. I'm joking, Dr. Campbell. I'm joking. Okay, so SCP-956, the Child Breaker. Okay. Object class safe has been crossed out and it's now Euclid. Special containment procedures. SCP-956 is to be kept at the approximate center of an 18 by 18 by 4 meter concrete room at all times. The door is to be locked with an armed guard posted to prevent unauthorized access. Entrance by research personnel into the room is only permitted once SCP-956 has entered a dormant state. Permission to bring a subject into the room must be cleared by O5 approval to decrease the occurrence of SCP-956-1 as well as data retracted. Unless for testing, individuals fulfilling SCP-956's activation requirements are not to be brought within 200 meters of SCP-956's containment area. Surveillance is to be maintained through security footage at all times. And there's a blotted out number here. Instances of SCP-956-1 are kept in a neighboring room and are to be maintained at a temperature of -4 degrees Celsius in order to prevent melting or destruction. Any use of SCP-956-1 is to be authorized by at least one member of O5 and to be carried out in a room identical to SCP-956's containment chamber. Any excess SCP-956-1 created by tests with SCP-956 is to be incinerated unless authorized by personnel with security clearance 4 or higher, as are any extraneous instances of SCP-956. Description: SCP-956 appears to be a common piñata, resembling an unknown quadruped. Tests have revealed that, although superficially similar to papier-mâché, SCP-956 is constructed of various amounts of glue, blotted out, sugar, and unidentified fur, and human tissue. SCP-956 has also shown to be highly resistant to any sort of bludgeoning damage, with large amounts of crushing force showing no damage to its structural integrity, though the use of gunfire as well as heat and flame have shown to be effective. By default, SCP-956 remains in a passive state. It shows no signs of locomotion or intelligence and displays no hostility. The next part's been crossed out. As long as the item's activation requirement is not met, the item will remain in this state indefinitely. Yeah, that's been crossed out. Huh. See Addendum 956-A, which, okay, we have, so we'll get to that. SCP-956 enters its active state when a human under the age of 12 years enters within, blotted out meters of it. Approximately, so many blotted out numbers. Blotted out to blotted out seconds after entering the active zone, the child becomes unable to move, holding any stance they had at the time. The victim is incapable of motion or speech, although it remains alive, and its rapidly moving eyes suggest that it retains awareness. SCP-956 moves towards the victim and bludgeons him or her until the torso ruptures. Upon breach, the victim's body discharges a large pile of unmarked candy, ranging from what looks like a 2-digit number to a 3-digit number of pieces. Instances of this candy are designated as SCP-956-1. SCP-956 repeats this for any other immobilized victims before returning to a docile state. A victim can be removed from SCP-956's activation range if retrieved promptly. Upon moving the victim however many meters away from it, SCP-956 returns to its passive state. The victim, however, shows no signs of recovering from its immobilized state, and appears to remain in such a state indefinitely. Autopsies of unbroken victims show that their body had severely dehydrated, leaving them brittle. Autopsies also revealed that pieces of SCP-956-1 had begun to grow out of the victim's organs, using the tissue as a component. The amount of SCP-956-1 appears to be directly correlated to the time spent in SCP-956's activation radius. SCP-956-1's effects vary depending upon the age of the human consuming them. Humans at the age of 12 years or older go into a seizure within however many minutes of consumption, with a percentage possibility of cardiac arrest. There is an approximate percentage chance of survival for such subjects. Animals suffer similar effects regardless of age. Children under the age of 12 undergo a different effect. They first enter a similar state to the immobilized victims of SCP-956, although they assume a standing stance, with their arms resting in front of them. Their body then... Data redacted. Okay. The process takes a blotted out number of minutes to complete. Upon completion, the victim has transformed into another instance of SCP-956. These copies behave identically to SCP-956. There is a 0% chance of survival for the victim. Okay, we've got an addendum here. Let's see what this says. Addendum 956-A. SCP-956 has recently begun to show locomotion outside of testing. It began to wander around its containment, tracing the perimeter of the room. Did this for about an hour before staring at a spot on the wall. Review of footage shows that it's faced this wall after deactivating during previous tests. Security has confirmed that SCP-956 is facing directly towards an elementary school. That school is, the numbers blotted out, kilometers away. Reclassification to Euclid status requested. Dr. N. There's another piece to this addendum. Reclassification to Euclid granted. If its effects appear to reach beyond its containment, it is to be transferred to site, blotted out, which should keep it far enough away from potential victims. Retrieve any paralyzed victims or SCP-956-1 and administer Class A amnesiacs to witnesses and family. We don't need any more of these things around. 05. That's another one of those, I guess. You know, Dr. Campbell, I know this can't just be me, but shouldn't these things be destroyed? I know that counterproducts the research of the organization. Everything the Foundation's tried to do with the possibility of this thing getting out. Of scientists bringing kids just to see this happen. What it's capable of. And I know the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, but you gotta draw a line. You gotta draw a line when it's kids. But this was SCP-956, the Child Breaker.